CNN has learned that human remains of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson have been discovered in Niger. I want to get right to the key point here. We also can tell you his family has been briefed by the U.S. military on this development. His family is aware of everything that we are able to say about this. They've had a briefing from military investigators. These are human remains of Sergeant Johnson that were discovered in early November when military and FBI investigators went to Niger, went to the scene where the ambush took place, where 4 U.S. servicemen were killed. At that time, they recovered human remains, and they have now identified them through Armed Forces medical examiners as being remains that do belong to Sergeant Johnson. He is the young man whose body was missing.
Hey guys, it's Nicole here back on this Tuesday night. I hope you guys are all doing good out there, and welcome back to Nicole's View. So just when we thought this story was, dying down, many of us were very disgusted and just outraged at how the widow of LaDavid Johnson was treated by your so-called white supremacist in chief, Donald Trump, and how Representative Frederica Wilson out of Florida, how that all went down. Many of us were very upset, but at the same time, we're not surprised. This is how these devils act, okay? And so with all of that, you saw the CNN news clip, and this is just horrific, and this poor family now has to think about this all over. And I remember when his widow was on Good Morning America, and she was saying how she just didn't know what to think. She wanted to see her husband, okay? She wanted to see him for the last time, and she was not granted that. And she even said, how do I know he's in there? That could be anybody in there. It could be empty. I don't know. And then you see this story, and it just makes you just shake your head like, really? Really? Despicable. The so-called country that cares for its soldiers and vets. This is the respect that this poor man is getting and his poor family. Evil. It says, additional remains of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson found in Niger. Oh boy. Additional remains have been discovered of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, who was killed in the October 4th ambush by ISIS fighters in Niger, according to a U.S. official. Another U.S. official confirmed to CNN that the remains were bone fragments. The remains were recovered on November 12th by a U.S. military and FBI team that traveled to the area. Johnson's family was notified on Monday, the official said. On November 12, 2017, a joint U.S. Africa Command military investigation team discovered additional human remains at the site where Sergeant LaDavid T. Johnson's body was recovered following the October 4th attack. A statement released by Pentagon spokesperson Dana White on Tuesday said, today we can confirm that the Armed Forces medical examiner has positively identified these remains as those of Sergeant Johnson. What a shame. There has been no public disclosure about whether these additional remains will provide any clues about Johnson's death or what happened to his body during the 48 hours he was missing. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. All the forensics and come on. You're in the heart of DC. Just stop. I'm not buying it. Anyway, U.S. officials are also investigating local eyewitnesses. Report Sergeant Johnson was found with his hands tied, a defense official told CNN earlier this month, though the U.S. military has not confirmed those accounts. A joint U.S. Africa Command and Niger military investigation team returned to Tongo Tongo, the village near where the attack took place on October 4th. According to U.S. Africa Command, investigators interviewed local villagers, physically examined multiple areas of interest, and retraced actions before, during, and after the ambush. What happened to Johnson and how he became separated from the rest of the Green Beret-led team after it was attacked is one of the key mysteries surrounding the incident. Johnson was reportedly found nearly a mile away from the central scene of the ambush in Niger that killed him and 3 other U.S. soldiers. CBS News and the Washington Post have reported eyewitnesses of the aftermath disclosing his hands were tied. The Post quoted a local farmer and trader saying some children tending cattle found Johnson's remains with his hands tied behind his back and talked to a village chief confirming it. Those poor kids to see that. Authorities, according to the official, were also investigating whether local villagers may have taken his body at some point before it was turned over to Nigerian forces. Johnson's body was recovered in a remote area of the northwestern Africa country by Nigerian troops nearly 48 hours after he was discovered to be missing in the wake of the attack, according to U.S. officials. Several U.S. military officials caution the local reports are not yet verified. The Green Beret-led team was traveling with 30 Nigerian soldiers when they were attacked by approximately 50 ISIS-affiliated fighters armed with rocket-propelled grenades, mortars, and heavy machine guns. The team became separated during the fight, U.S. officials and a Nigerian soldier told CNN. During the subsequent gun battle, which lasted for hours, 4 U.S. soldiers were killed and 2 were wounded. 5 Nigerians were also killed. U.S. Nigerian forces managed to kill 20 militants during the firefight, according to a defense official. The Defense Department has said it expects the investigation into the Niger ambush to be completed by January. The Department of Defense is committed to a thorough and detailed investigation into the deaths of Sergeant Brian C. Black, Staff Sergeant Jeremiah W. Johnson, Staff Sergeant Dustin M. Wright, and Sergeant LaDavid T. Johnson. Once the investigation is completed, briefing the families of the fallen will be the department's first priority, a statement released last month said. So that is the article. I just find this really disgusting how this poor man, his body, still finding body parts, bone fragments. What really went down is what I want to know. So the other fellow soldiers, they all came home in one piece. But this brother here, we're still finding body parts? Yeah, this needs to be investigated through and through. And Miss Frederica Wilson, Johnson is the widow. Miss Wilson is on point to have an investigation set up because this is not okay. They can talk about Benghazi and all this and that. I want a investigation into this, to this brother, and how his wife was not able to see him in his coffin. Her last time to see her husband in the flesh. And this is how he's treated. You so-called stand for the national anthem. You so-called want to be patriots of America. You so-called you're disrespecting the flag by kneeling. Jackasses out here. What do you have to say about this? What do you have to say about the many veterans who do survive combat, who are somewhere on the side of the road somewhere, begging for food, begging for money? Where are all you so-called soldier-loving patriots? This is a freaking national disgrace. Unbelievable. This poor family now has to almost relive this over again. And no disrespect to the other fallen soldiers and their families. But it seems like luckily they were all intact. But this brother here, it's like, Mo, we found some more bones here. Really? I can't with this. I really can't. This is America, and this is how they treat ours, especially if they're black. Anyway, let me know what you think about this story, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.